Welcome back to another video, and in today's video, we're going to learn how to make this 3D printable swivel trash can from start to finish. In this module, we're going to learn about hinges and more specifically how to use hinges into our 3D printable projects and design and how to get started using them so that way we can incorporate them into future projects. So with that said, let's go ahead and open up Fusion 360 and jump right into it. Okay, so to get started with this design, the first thing we need to do here is click on Create, New Component. Let's go ahead and name this component to Swivel Trash Can and press OK. The next thing we want to do here is to create two additional components. The first one we're going to create is called Can. Press OK. Then selecting the Swivel Trash Can and activating that component. Create, New Component. Let's go ahead and name this to Swivel. Now with that completed, you should have two components, one named Can and one named Swivel. These two should be nested under the Swivel Trash Can component here. To get started, let's go ahead and create the Can portion for this design. Activate the Can component, then clicking on Create, Create Sketch, then selecting the bottom plane here. From here, selecting Center Diameter Circle. From the origin, dragging this out. I'm going to drag this out to around 76 millimeters, which is about 3 inches. Then pressing E on our keyboard, we can go ahead and drag this up to around 100 millimeters or typing it into the dialog box right there. From here, pressing OK. The next thing we want to do here is to add a small chamfer at the bottom and as well as filleting that chamfer here so that way it looks more like a trash can. Pressing S on our keyboard, typing in chamfer, then selecting the blue icon here. Let's go ahead and chamfer the small edge here at the bottom. I'm going to chamfer this in to let's just say around 5 millimeters. Press enter. From here, pressing F on our keyboard, let's go ahead and zoom right in so we can see what we're doing. Then selecting this top edge here. I'm going to go ahead and fillet this in so that way there's not much of a hard edge connecting the bottom with our can. And I'm set this to around 8 millimeters. Press OK. Let's go ahead and zoom right out and finish up this design by creating a cutout for our trash to fit in. So to do that, what you want to do is press S on our keyboard, type in shell, then selecting the blue icon here. Selecting this top face, let's go ahead and shell this into around 1.6 millimeters. Now with that completed, we have the fully created design for our swivel trash can, more specifically the can portion of our design. What we want to do now is click on and activate the swivel components. By toggling that on, we can go ahead and click on Create Sketch, then selecting the top face here, more specifically the top face of our trash can. Now, although this can is slightly invisible, you can't really see it too well, we can actually use this top face as a point of reference, especially since we created this within our components, and the reason why it is slightly visible is because it's not currently activated. But although it's not currently activated, we can actually use this face as a reference. From here, go ahead and select the top face here. And now Fusion 360 will reorient us to the top face, more specifically creating a sketch where we started creating the top portion for our can. So to get started, what we want to do here is press O on our keyboard, then select this edge here. I'm going to set this to around, let's just say negative 0.2 millimeters, making sure that the distance actually cuts into our design and not going outside of it. Press OK. With that done, you can kind of see now we're creating a cutout. This is the piece here that's going to allow our top piece to kind of fit in flush with our can. So right now you currently can't see it, but let's go ahead and select these three profiles that we just made. Then pressing E on our keyboard, let's go ahead and drag this up to around 5 millimeters. With that done, let's go ahead and toggle on Swivel, Sketches, then toggle on Sketch 1. With that created, let's press O on our keyboard. Let's go ahead and zoom right in, select the outer edge once again, and I'm going to set this in to around negative 1.2. Press OK. Let's go ahead and click on Finish Sketch. Now, in order to see what we're doing, let's go ahead and create a section analysis. Pressing S on our keyboard, type in Section Analysis, and what we want to do here is select the front plane here. If by any chance it had flipped it to the other side, you can click on Flip, and now our section analysis will show us what we're looking at from this side of the design. Pressing OK. And now what we want to do here is go ahead and zoom right in. If by any chance your sketch 1 is turned off, go ahead and turn that right back on. Now with this newly created profile, you can kind of see right here, this is the small amount of clearance we created for our lid. And this piece here is actually going to attach to our can. So by selecting this profile, pressing E on our keyboard, we're going to drag this down to, let's just say, around -3 millimeters. Pressing OK. And as you can see, now we have the top portion for our swivel connecting to our can at the bottom. Now, the way this works is that when we 3D print this, and just to show you as an example, you can kind of move this up. Once we have these parts 3D printed, this will actually fit in place. And just by using gravity, this is actually going to stay in place and not shift out of its place there. The next thing we want to do here is to create another offset. To do that, let's click on Sketch 1, then zooming right in, pressing O on our keyboard, selecting this edge once again, and then dragging this out. I'm going to set this to around -2. Now, if this is -2, more specifically 2 millimeters, and this is 1.2, this gives us a clearance of around 0.8. Let's go ahead and finish sketch, zoom right in once again, and selecting that 0.8 profile that we just created, pressing E, and then setting the extend type to to object. From here, what we want to do is select the top face here, make sure the operation is set to cut, and press OK. Now let's go ahead and turn off Sketch 1, then turn off Section Analysis. And now as you can see, we have two bodies. If you click on Bodies, see there's Body 1, which is the portion that's going to act as our swivel, and then Body 2, which is the piece that's actually going to mount our swivel in place. Now, the one thing we don't have is the live and working hinge. So how do we go about doing that? To do that, let's go ahead and press S on our keyboard, type in tangent plane, and what I want to do is select tangent plane. Let's go ahead and reorient to the front, then selecting the top face or the front face here. And now what we've done is created a plane on our cylinder. And the reason why we did this is because while you can't technically sketch on a cylinder, there is no rule around creating a plane in which we can use to actually emboss or extrude into our design. So to do this, let's go ahead and click on Create Sketch, select the front plane here. And now what we want to do here is to create a center diameter circle. Selecting the center diameter circle from the middle, dragging this out. I'm going to set this circle to around, let's just say 4 millimeters. I'm going to create one additional circle in the center once again. And this is going to be around 0.4 millimeters in distance here. Now, the reason for this is because what we're essentially doing is that these two profiles, this is going to be the cutout for our hinge. While this section here, or this profile, is going to be the hinge itself. And what we've essentially done is created some clearance in between the cutout and as well as the hinge. This 0.4 is basically just one layer height. So one layer essentially in your slicer, 1 or 2 layers. So this gives it plenty of room for it to actually swivel around in place and actually lock in with your design. Now with that completed, let's go ahead and set up some dimensions, pressing D on our keyboard, selecting this circle, pressing D on our keyboard, selecting this top edge and this circle here, setting this to around 2.5, and doing the exact same thing for the bottom. I'm gonna go ahead and center this up just a bit. And now with that completed, let's go ahead and turn off Body 1, which is the swivel portion here. And let's go ahead and select these two profiles. Pressing E on our keyboard, dragging this across to the other side, making sure the operation is set to cut, and press OK. Now with that complete, let's go ahead and turn on Body 1, select the middle profile, pressing E on our keyboard. Let's go ahead and drag this out to the other side. I'm going to drag this out to around -76, just kind of matching up with our cylinder here, setting the operation to join, and press OK. And by now you should have a fully designed swivel with a live working hinge connecting to our lid, which is going to mount onto our can below. Now, to kind of see this in action, what I want you to do here is to right click on body 1, create components from bodies, then right click on body 2, create components from bodies, and then from here, we're going to use the as built joints feature within Fusion 360. Pressing S on our keyboard, type in as built joint. We're going to select this icon here, which basically shows two pieces connected to each other. Then selecting the swivel, then the outside, then zooming right in. What we want to do here is create a flag, more specifically a pin here, that's going to snap in between the center here. And once that's done, you can kind of see Fusion 360 create a quick animation, pressing OK. Now, if you were to double click on this flag, you can kind of see how this is going to work and function once we 3D print this. Let's go ahead and toggle on trash can 1. And now we have our fully 3D printed design, fully designed within Fusion 360, ready to be 3D printed. Now, to go about slicing this, there are two ways to do this. Now, the first thing you can do here is right click on Swivel 1, save as mesh, then export this to your slicer. Now, with our design fully imported into our slicer, let's go ahead and rotate this around so that way we don't need supports on the underside. And let's go ahead and zoom right in. Now, currently, if we don't use supports, so right now I turned off supports, slice plate, you can kind of see our fully 3D printable hinge or our print in place product fully sliced and ready to go. Now, you might encounter some issues here, and the issue starts here mainly because this is basically an overhang. It's basically just printing in the air. Now, while technically you can 3D print this with no issues, and while it would still work, if you want this to be just as flawless or print basically with nearly zero imperfections, well, what you want to do is add some sort of supports here. Now, the reason why you would want to add supports is because it would just basically make this look a little bit cleaner, but otherwise you should have no issues printing this in place. Let's go ahead and click on Create Supports or the Supports painting, then paint around the underside. Then if I were to go ahead and slice my plate once again, you can see now my slicer added just a little bit of supports to this design here. And as you can see, we zoom or kind of zoom right in with this layer height at around 7. You can kind of see there's this small structure of support here, supporting the gap in between the lid of our design and our swivel here. I also want to mention that the quality that I set it to is around 0.12 millimeters for layer height, and the support settings are listed here on the left-hand side. Keep in mind, if you were to set this to around a 0.2, this might change the support structure, which is the default for most slicers, especially at a 0.2. And as you can see, our support settings doesn't show up mainly because the layer height changed, which is why I set this to a 0.12 in the beginning. Now, with that completed, if you prefer to actually print this as two separate pieces, what you can actually do is click on Prepare, right click, Split, Split to Objects. Now these two pieces will be separated, and you can actually manually add supports on the underside, so that way you actually don't have to rely on this printing in place and without it having to look slightly weird or with slight imperfections. Now keep in mind, if you prefer to use a much lower layer height and actually print with more detail while compromising on time and actually have them print in place, then I would recommend doing that. But if you prefer it to look as close to perfect as possible and actually print these as two separate pieces, you can also do it this way as well. Keep in mind, there is no right or wrong answer. This technically is still a print in place hinge that works just as fine. Keep in mind, for a hinge like this, it's meant to be as simple as possible. Just basically two pieces connected to each other where they're printed in place, and just by using gravity, these things are going to actually swivel. And just by using gravity, these two pieces will actually swivel and move with each other, and just by using gravity, the swivel portion is actually going to shift and move around in place with little to no issues. Now with that design fully made, we can go ahead and export our can to our slicer. And now we have our fully 3D printable trash can, fully designed within Fusion 360, ready to be 3D printed and ready to be made. So with that said, that pretty much wraps up today's video. In this video, we've learned how to create this 3D printable swivel trash can with a live working hinge that we can incorporate into this project and as well as incorporate into future projects. This video is perfect if you want a quick introduction to hinges and how to make prints in place hinges, as hinges can get quite more complex and as well as more complicated later on as you start designing other products with their own built-in hinges or multiple hinges in the same product. So with that said, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to like, comment down below, below. Additionally, if you want to learn how to create your own 3D printable designs, whether you're someone that's looking to get started selling, creating your own models, or even becoming more fluent or proficient in 3D printing, make sure to check out the 14-day challenge down below. This is a live community showing you exactly how to create your own 3D printable designs regardless of your skill level, how much time you have, and whether you're an expert or not in 3D printing. Each module is meant to be quick, simple, and straight to the point, helping you learn how to create your own models, and as well as helping you further along your skill set when it comes to creating your own designs for 3D printing. So if you're interested in checking that out, make sure to check out the link down below. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.